Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Today I will continue to talk about some new developments regarding the chained-up mother of 8. I heard the highest level CCP leaders, including Xi Jinping and his wife Peng Liyuan, are debating fiercely about how to deal with this issue. I feel that this event is highly likely to become a crack in the so far solid Great Firewall or whatever other walls that the CCP has established. I will also tell you a heart-wrenching story that even Hollywood playwrights are incapable of writing, as well as my understanding of the famous quote, "Hell is other people." So please make sure you stick around till the end. Remember last time when we talked about the case of the chained-up mother of 8 in Xuzhou City in China, we mentioned that 2 women drove to the mental hospital to try to visit her. They put up such a sign in front of her car which says, "Sister, the world has not abandoned you. We are coming." We talk about how they were refused by local hotels after the police found them and forced them to wipe off the words on the car. Well, the latest news is they got arrested later and are currently detained at Sunlou Police Station in Feng County in Jiangsu Province. Despite this, more and more people are speaking out. So this photo shows 9 people in Yueyang City in Hunan Province holding 9 Chinese characters which say thoroughly investigate the chained-up sex slave case in Feng County. And these are several other photos of citizens posting their photos online, demanding the truth. And this is the open letter from 100 Peking University alumni calling for a thorough investigation into this matter. So these are the real names of these people. And this is an open letter from alumni from another top university, Tsinghua University. And they are also calling for more people to co-sign it. As more and more people are joining forces to search and dig out the truth, more important information is being released online. First of all, people found the marriage certificate of Dong Zhiming, the man who chained up that woman, and Yang Qingxia, which was referred to as Yang Moxia in the official document before. So this is the marriage certificate. And so you can see from this photo. Okay, so from the marriage certificate and a photo of Xiao Huamei, which is in this picture on the left, people can see that because the official report says that Xiao Huamei was Yang Moxia, you can see that these 2 persons do look like each other. However, the problem is they don't like the chained up of mother at all from these photos you can see. So people are wondering whether Xiao Huamei or Yang Moxia has already died and this mother of 8 is another woman. And this page of the marriage certificate shows that the date of birth of Yang Qingxia was June the 6th, 1969. So she is 53 years old if she's still alive this year. And the chained up mother of 8 doesn't look like she's in her 50s and all, right? Another problem is the date on the marriage certificate is September 2nd in 1998. But according to the calendar, that day was a Sunday and no public department works on Sunday. And a more serious problem is people found out that the birthday of the eldest son of Dong Zhiming was March 1997. That is more than 1 year before the marriage date, and was also before the time when Dong Zhiming's father found the woman of mother begging on the street and took her home. That was in 1998. But the authorities said in their fourth document that all 8 children are biological children of Dong Zhiming and Yang Moxia. So you can see nothing adds up in this story or the authorities' claims. Another update is due to the intensive public attention, the CCP was forced to respond by trying to make up new lies to cover up old lies. The CCP's mouthpiece, China's Central TV, CCTV, did a TV report about doctors visiting the chained-up woman and trying to offer her help. However, in the video, we can clearly hear the woman says, 放我走, which means let me go or let me out or get me out of here. Now let's watch that short video.
睡一会儿就好了是吧？睡一会儿就好了，喝水呗。疯了是不？哪不舒服？你跟我说，咋难受啊？那睡好吧，是吧？睡一会儿就好了是吧？
So from this, we can say that her mind is very clear. What she wants is freedom, nothing else. So she says, let me out. I'm very much worried that the CCP will really make her insane or disappear because her existence embarrassed the CCP. Actually, if the authorities really want to find out who she is, just ask her. Nobody ever has a chance to ask her, who are you? Where do you come from? What has happened to you? Why doesn't the CCP want to admit that she's this girl Li Yin in this photo on the right? Because if she is Li Yin, then she was only 14 years old when they got her married, and 15 years old when she gave birth to her first baby. So the crime of the man who raped her would be much, much more severe. It is still very obvious that the CCP wants to cover up the severity of this case. Also, Li Yin's father, who had passed away after losing her, was a PLA, People's Liberation Army soldier. He served in Tibet for 12 years and later became a cadre in the Food Bureau, a government agency. So if even a former PLA soldier and a medium-level government official could lose his daughter without being able to do anything, this matter will look even worse in the public eye. As far as I can see, this time it is very hard for the CCP to push this matter under the carpet as they did before. According to the statistics of some netizens, discussions about this case have already attracted over 5 billion hits on the Chinese social media platform Weibo alone, and the total reading could be more than 10 billion, even 20 billion if other social media platforms are included. My instinct tells me that this event could become a crack in the CCP's highly guarded information firewall. Will it become a truth-seeking movement? And what will happen if the public wins this battle this time? All of this is very much worth watching. Since this matter was exposed, more and more people are posting online about what they know about human trafficking in China. For example, from 2016 to 2020, a professional photographer called Gong Yi had visited more than 100 women who had mental illness and who were sold to men to bear children for them. So these are the photos he took. Every one of them has a very, very miserable story. So in the past Sunday, I didn't have any rest. Instead, I translated a very long article entitled The Sinners. So this is that article. It is such a heart-wrenching story, and it is so dramatic, complicated, and twisted. I think even Hollywood playwrights cannot work out such something as intriguing as this one. So I'd like to tell that story here briefly, and I do recommend that you read the entire article later on my website at jenniferzengblog.com. The pen name of the author is Lao Fu, while his real name is Fan Fu Sheng. He once published a book called Memories of the Past. About 30 years ago, he worked at the railway system. So the story started at a railway system near Xuzhou about 30 years ago. One day, he was chatting with the station head Ho in the waiting room for soft seat passengers. They suddenly heard loud noises outside. They went out and found a large crowd of villagers. 100 to 200 of them were standing on the platform. Some of them carried a stick, some a shovel, and one even carried a pig-killing knife. He still wore a bloody apple. Apparently, he just rushed over directly from a pig slaughterhouse. And in the middle of the crowd, sitting on the ground, was a young woman trembling in the arms of a middle-aged woman wearing glasses. It turned out that the young woman's name was Mo Hua. She was a graduate student and went to that area 5 years ago to do some field study and was somehow adopted and sold to a villager called Mao Dan to be his wife. It was not clear how long it took for Mo Hua's parents to find her or how they managed to find her in that village. Anyway, that day, Mo Hua's parents, who were both professors at an institute of chemistry, together with 2 police officers from Shanghai City, went to that village to rescue her and intended to take her away by train. But all the villagers rushed over to stop them. It turned out that the station head director Ho was also from that village and knew the villagers, including the village head, well. So he managed to negotiate a solution for the 2 parties. When the police officer said that it was illegal to buy a wife, one villager said, "Everyone does it in the entire country. There are so many bachelors in the village. If they don't buy a wife, where can they get one? Plus, Mo Hua has killed 2 of her own babies. She sophisticated them as soon as they were born. How about that?" The police officers were astonished and didn't know what to say. Finally, station head Ho convinced the villagers to agree for Mo Hua to be taken away. But Mao Dan and his mother insisted that they needed to be paid back. They said they paid 800 yuan when they bought Mo Hua years ago. If they let Mo Hua go, they need to buy another woman. But the price now has increased to 2,000 yuan. So they asked for 3,000 yuan. The additional 1,000 was for Mo Hua's food in the past 5 years. Mo Hua's father, Professor Mo, was so angry when he heard this. He said that in the past 5 years, he had spent all his money trying to find his daughter, and he only had 1,500 yuan with him. After a lot of more arguments, Mao Dan and his mother finally agreed to charge 2,000 yuan only. As Professor Mo only had 1,500 yuan, so the station head, the 2 police officers, and the author of this article scrapped together 500 yuan. The author of the article also promised to borrow money from other colleagues so that they could buy their tickets home. So finally, Professor Mo and his wife took their daughter home on the condition that they wouldn't sue Mao Dan for human trafficking. Otherwise, Mao Dan would sue Mo Hua for murder. But Mo Hua's health was already ruined and had developed mental illnesses. Sometimes her mind was clear, sometimes not. She also refused to receive treatment. When her mind was clear, she told her parents what had happened to her. She said she always tried to escape, but they always caught her and then would badly beat her. The last time they even broke both her legs, they also chained her up. Also, after she got caught, the villagers swept off her pants in public and held her down so that Mao Dan could rape her in front of everyone. The people in the village guarded her like a thief, helping Mao Dan's family keep an eye on her. The village head even said to Mao Dan that you've got to beat up your wife just like you need to knead the flour to make noodles. As long as she had a child, everything would be good, etc. Mo Hua died only 2 months after she went home. Professor Mo's hair went all gray in 1 month, as Mo Hua was their only daughter. One day after he went home from work, he found a note on the table with a large bottle full of highly toxic poison on it. The note was written by his wife, which says, "I'm leaving. Please take revenge for Hua." He was so shocked and rushed to the bedroom and found his wife lying on the bed, fully dressed, her body twisted, her eyes wide open and angry, and she had long since stopped breathing. After his wife's funeral, Professor Mo sat in a chair all day long without speaking or opening his eyes. Later, he asked for a leave from work. Actually, he had sold his house to a relative. He took the money, rented a room in the town near the village where his daughter was sold. He quietly observed the village and found out where the villagers' drinking water well was and how much their daily water consumption was. He calculated the dose of poison he needed to put into the well and started doing it. People in the village died one after another. They started to flee. A task force was then sent to the village to investigate. As there happened to be a medical plant nearby, the task force concluded that the deaths were likely caused by the plant. So that plant was closed and the villagers started to come back. But soon a new round of deaths started again. Villagers started to flee again. The village head stayed in the village to cooperate with the task force in the investigations and eventually died. After making sure that the village head had died, Professor Mo surrendered himself to the police and gave them all the relevant information before and after the incidents. Well, the story of Professor Moore stopped here. I don't know what happened to him later. My heart was so heavy after I finished translating that 5,000-word long article. I didn't know what to think or who to blame. When I shared the Chinese version of this article on Facebook, a Chinese reader asked me, "Why do you always share negative things? Is there only hell in your heart?" Well, his question reminds me of that famous quote from Sartre, "Hell is other people." A very talented friend of mine recently wrote a very moving song based on the story of the chained-up mother of 8, and the song is called "The World Has Abandoned Me." When he talked about his understanding of this song, he said, "Chinese society is neither heaven nor hell, but it is definitely the entrance to hell, as people's morality has declined to such a terrible state." I'm not as pessimistic as he is, so I wrote another article titled "Heaven or Hell." My main point is, although Chinese society today is indeed the entrance to hell, we can also make it the entrance to heaven. It all depends on what we do and what we choose. Even if I can't control or change others, I can at least decide whether I become heaven or hell for other people around me. Well, that's all for today. By the way, I have translated that moving song into English. My friend Da Xiong has agreed to premiere the English version of that song on my channel when the English titles are ended. So please stay tuned. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.